Hi everybody. It's a meltingly hot day, and I know that we are beginning to feel that we are near the end of the school year, the academic year, and the pain is nearly over. And excuse me, I've been thinking about how it's been hard to keep going homeschooling when a number of children have gone back. And some of us are relieved that our children are not going back, some are choosing not to send back. But there are families who have children in a mainstream setting who have special educational needs. And if your child is not in one of the groups that's going back, or you're choosing not to send them back, well done you, but it's really tough. And so I just want to talk about continuing to manage, keeping on to the end of the road, the end of July, the term in July. I want to talk about two things. First of all, I'll talk about what I mean by the special needs. It's quite broad. Secondly, I'm going to talk about how you can help them to fulfill their potential in a number of different ways. We're going to talk about have you had more meltdowns at home, and just thinking about the behaviour and the issues around that. And then finally, liaising with school and just being able to make the best of that interaction that you have with school for you and them to support your child in the best way. We often feel tense and difficult about that. But before I go into all of that, I just want to say that most of what I'm saying, or pretty much all of what I'm saying, is coming out of Care for the Family special needs parenting course. And I can't do it justice. It's been really hard to sort of choose what is the most useful thing that I can say to you today. I may have not got that right, and there's a lot more that I could say. But what I would say is go to the Care for the Family website. I say this a lot. They have pages supporting parents who have additional needs. They have a Facebook page for parents with children with additional needs. They've got all sorts of resources and articles there for you. I would also say that in normal times we would run this course. The core course is 7 2-hour sessions, and it covers your statutory rights, all kinds of aspects of managing your behaviour, how to put frameworks in at home that best support your children, all kinds of things. And it's well worth seeing if there's one available in your area. If you live near Salway, around the Woodford Green, northeast London, West Essex area, and you would like us to run one when we can do groups again, do comment under this post, and we would certainly consider doing that if we know that's a pressing need for you. And but look on the websites, the Care for the Family websites, because they will have all kinds of courses registered there, and you can pick one up that's local to you, or contact them if you can't see one, and they usually bend over backwards to try and accommodate people. So I'm just going to explain to you now what I mean by special educational needs. I'm talking about the children who are in a mainstream school. So they might be children who have a learning difficulty or an emotional or behavioural difficulty. They might be children that have some kind of developmental disorder. They might have speech and language problems. They might have hearing or visual impairment. They might have a physical disability of some kind, or some other some medical condition. But sometimes, of course, children have a mixture of these, and so they have multiple special needs. And I would say to all parents who have been struggling on throughout lockdown, trying to keep going, Struggling is not giving up. Struggling means you are continuing to try to strive for the best for your child. And so well done. If you're struggling and it's hard, well done for keep going. So I'd encourage you, if you're struggling, and know that you're doing a good job for your child. And I would also say that being a parent of a special needs child, as any child, but even more so with an additional needs child, is that we're there for the long haul. It's not a short job bringing up anyone, but especially not a SEND child. And so the first thing that you need to do as a parent is to look after yourself. Parents keep going and keep going and keep going. We keep giving, we'll have a brief rest, we'll get up and we'll keep giving. And eventually, I can tell you, you will run out of steam completely. So the first thing I would say to all parents, but especially parents with a SEND child, is you need to make sure that you have time out for yourself. It's not selfish, it's not an indulgence, it's a necessity. Whether it's doing exercise, whether it's, regularly having your partner look after your child so you can have a long soak in the bath, or go for a run, go to your group, your craft group, whatever it is, you need to be able to do that. And so does your partner. You need to do the same for them. But that's my first tip. You must be able to take time out for yourself. And secondly, I want to just acknowledge all the good things that home gives to our children, because home gives things that school cannot. And that's where your child is, if you're homeschooling at the moment, or if they're not going in. And school does give things, and school does have a unique contribution. Focus on what your contribution is to your children, and don't feel bad that you're not doing all the school stuff you feel you should, or keeping them up with that as you should. We'll come on to liaising with schools. But I want to underline what you can do for them at home. So we want our children to fulfill their potential. We often think that in terms of academic or social achievement, or particular markers like going to college or getting a job or having hobbies. But part of being able to fulfill your potential is simply to have confidence and good self-esteem. I'm in the wrong place in my notes. Here we go. I'm going to read this out, so forgive my glasses. Children who feel loved and competent are more likely to achieve their potential than those who don't. Self-esteem is really important for all of us, and if we don't feel that we are of value or worth, then it's hard for us to fulfill our potential. So with special needs children, that is even more so, and I'm going to give you some tips for helping them to fulfill or to have self-esteem so they can fulfill their potential. Number one, as you're their parent, be their greatest fan. Tell them they're brilliant. Mark their achievements, all the rest of it. Be their greatest fan. Secondly, they're your child first, and their special need is just something about them. So don't obsess about the additional need. It might cause you frustration or difficulty. Don't obsess about it, and do not talk about it where they can hear you talking about it, because they will think that when you look at them, that's what you see. But of course, what you want to make sure they know is you see somebody you think is fantastic. Be careful to mark their achievements, to praise them and reward them whenever they've achieved something. It might be a smaller achievement than your other children, but it's a big something for them. So remember that. help them to be involved in the management of their condition. So there are all sorts of things that you can help them to do. If they have things like hearing aids and that sort of thing, equipment, you can help them to engage with that. You can help them with organising, or help them to help you organise their medication so that they know it's all laid out for the day. They can remind you if when it's time to take it, so you can supervise them depending on what their condition is, and so on. Do not compare them unfavourably with their brothers and sisters. How soul destroying. That's a really tough thing. Treat them as their own person. As far as possible, treat them the same as their siblings, but do remember that treating people equally is not always treating people the same. And it could be that the siblings need to understand that this child will be more lenient, or will give them extra time to achieve things or to follow an instruction, just because they need extra time. It's not because I'm, letting them off. But we all acknowledge that treating them the same is not the same as treating them equally. Okay. And most important, reassure them that they will always be loved. You're fantastic. We love you. And this will go a long way to helping them to feel that they can achieve anything because you are behind them and they are part of your family. There are many other things that I could say about building self-esteem. Part of that is giving them boundaries. Part of that is not doing everything for them so they look the same as their brothers and sisters, or more importantly, children in their class. So don't try and finish their homework for them so that they keep up. If there's an issue that they can't keep up, you need to speak to the school. It will actually not do their self-esteem any good if you keep doing the work for them. So that's really important. And also let their feelings be recognised. We'll talk about feelings and behaviour, which is a difficult thing in a little while. But make sure they know that you understand how they feel, you acknowledge how they feel, and that's important. Being understood is always more important than fixing any problem. That is true for any human being. Being understood is the most important thing. Okay, so thinking more, just a moment, 2 more ways of showing your children that you love them and that you're for them, which will really give them the boost to help them achieve their potential in all their schoolwork and everything else. Number 1, think about more ways than just saying I love you to show your love, care and affection. If your child is visually impaired or has some other impairment, you may already have thought of touch as a way of showing that you love them. Pat on the back, a rub, a cuddle, kisses. There's also things like thumbs up, lots of non-verbal smiles, eye contact, all kinds of things. And I would encourage you to think about maybe just with a little bit of baby oil or something like that, just massaging your child, maybe arm and hand. It's very soothing. It's a very lovely, comforting thing to do. It says, I love you, and I'm spending time showing you that I love you. So think about lots of non-verbal ways to show your affection. And the other thing I would say is special time with your children. Special time is one-to-one time. It's time when you might let them lead. Playing is so important because it's the one area where children can be in charge and can sort of play out emotions or scenarios that maybe they've come across or they've experienced, helping them to make sense of the world. So I would say make sure with your special, your send child, that you spend one-to-one time playing and having fun with them. I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts for that. Okay, let them choose the activity. Don't interfere or tell them how to play their game. We often say, oh, all parents do it, not just with additional needs children. All parents say, oh no, you play with that toy this way. What you want to do is put those on in order. No, you put this on first and then you do this. Well, that's one way of playing with it, but it's not maybe this game. You don't know this game. So don't boss them around. Don't tell them how to play the game or engage with a toy. Let them do it their way. Let them lead. Comment on what they're doing. Wow, I've never thought of putting it on that one on first. I wonder what it will look like. Or I like the order of the colours you're doing. You're doing green next. So sort of narrate what they're doing, explain, and it will encourage them to do more. And they will see and understand that you're moving into their world and you're observing them. It will help you to be close. Some children find it hard to start playing with an adult, so you start playing and let them join in and take it that way round. Or you may just want to sit quietly and just observe them playing, how they play, and so on. And so I would say always find something that your child can achieve. Always think of something special about them and really praise them for it. So what could be great to praise them for? They're brave, they're funny, they're friendly, they're patient, they're helpful. Or what can they do that you can praise them for? Are they good on the computer? Do they love Lego? Are they avid collectors of something? Are they kind with the pets that you have? Are they great at smiling? There is something that your child can do well. Really praise them, encourage them in that thing, and tell them it's fantastic how they do it. All these things build up our children's esteem. It will help them to feel they've got a can-do attitude to life. They know that we are behind them and will support them always, and it will help them to achieve their best. So let's think about meltdowns. All this praise and everything won't eliminate meltdowns. It might help to mitigate it to some degree. But we need to just think about understanding our children's behaviour, particularly if you've had more tantrums or meltdowns recently during lockdown. We've all felt like it, to be honest. But I just want to say to you, first of all, that all behaviour is communication. When we are born, how do we communicate? We cry. We get a little bit older and we can smile. And then a little bit older, we can grasp things. And our comfort is sucking. So from babyhood, how we communicate is through behaviour. And although we learn more sophisticated ways to do it, all children still act out feelings. Behaviour means something. But it's harder for send children to move on to other behaviours, other ways of expressing, their feelings. So instead of just trying to keep managing the fallout as it's happening, I want to encourage you to just be able to think about, why is this behaviour happening? So think about what happened just before. What was the trigger that caused the meltdown? Now, and if you think this is trying to communicate something to me, it might just help you to unlock the reason for the tantrum or the meltdown. It might be, I'm bored. It might be I need attention, or I'm overstimulated, I'm overexcited. Could be I'm tired, or I'm upset, I'm ill, I'm lonely, I don't understand something, I'm frustrated, I'm feeling left out. It could be I don't like something. It could be I'm being defiant. I'm feeling discouraged. I can't do this thing. I've been trying to put this lid on or something on, and I can't do it, and I've just gone. It could be I'm afraid. I feel insecure. It could be I'm uncomfortable or in pain. So many things that it could be. And that's not an exhaustive list. That's just an example of the range that it might be from. So your task as a parent is to think, what was the trigger? What triggered this? And then you can maybe address what it is. Often you need to wait for them to calm down. I realise that. I would also say that sometimes behaviour has a goal. In fact, I would say always behaviour has a goal. So if you say, come on, it's time to tidy up, your child throws a tantrum or won't, you end up doing the tidying up, goal achieved. So you need to also think about how you're going to manage the expectations of your children when you want them to do something. Are you going to give them a 5-minute warning? Are you going to explain, in 5 minutes we're going to stop and tidy up because then the next thing will happen? It's time to have a bath or do our reading or sit down for tea, whatever it is. So they know what to expect. Routines are really key, and routines will actually stop a lot of tantrums. I expect you know that already. But that idea of knowing what comes next, a visual timetable will always help. So I hope those few things are useful pointers for you. The last thing I want to talk about is if you need to liaise with school, how to do that. Because parents do not find it easy to engage with professionals. There are occasions when you don't even know who the professionals are or why they're in the room. Professionals have a way of speaking that makes you feel de-skilled sometimes, or coming from a completely different agenda. We as parents are there because we want the best for our children. We want to make the whole system work for them, of course, and that's right. But do remember that their teacher, and if you have to liaise with any other professionals, are also there for the best for your child. We're all there for their flourishing. But what is different is how we can go about it. We want, obviously, our children to get the things that they need in order to fulfill their next steps. Professionals may have to share out a few resources around many children. So it's good to, in your head, acknowledge that we are all here for the flourishing of my child. But the angles that we have to approach it from are different. I just want to give you some pointers. So for example, say you've been doing some homeschooling, something that school has sent, and your child is struggling with it, either because they can't concentrate on it, they can't sort of engage in it in some way, or because they've tried it and it's too difficult, or the workload is simply too great for a SEND child. There could be all kinds of reasons why you just need to approach their school and just say, we're not managing well with this, and we need some help, or we need you to adjust the expectation or the amount of work, or we need more input from you, whatever it is. So this is a little hack for any situation where you need to give feedback or ask for help. And one thing that I would always say is always go in at the lowest possible entry level. And then if you need to go further up, go further up. I know that people often want to speak to the head of year or the head teacher or the whoever it is first. But think, who is the actual person you need to speak to? Who is the person who sent this home? It could be the Senko. It could be the class teacher. They're the people to contact. And then if you're not getting any joy from them, go up one level up. Head of year, year coordinator. And then it might be deputy head and then head. So always start low and go up. That's just a note from me. And this is how I would approach it. First of all, always start off with a positive. We know that what we want to say is the negative thing, the thing that we're struggling with, but always start off with a positive. So, for example, thank you for taking time to speak to me. Yeah, I know you're busy. I do appreciate that, all this work has been well thought through. We've been very pleased how the school has been liaising with us. Okay, so whatever it is, whatever you can say that's a positive, start there. And then say that your problem. And I often like to put a positive spin on it. Say, I need to ask your advice. So now you've got them on your side. They've crossed the bridge to your side. They can see that they need to look at something your way because you're struggling with it so that they can help you engage with it. So I need to ask your advice. I'm concerned about the level of work, or we've really tried the maths, but we just cannot understand how to explain it to my child. We're not very clear about. So try and be factual, try and be non-aggressive, but simply and clearly state the problem. And then you need to say what action you'd like to take. So would you be able to explain it to me now on the phone so that I can show them? We need to find another way to approach these maths problems, or we're wondering whether you can modify the amount of work for my child because the expectation is too great. It is just causing so much frustration. Okay, so say what you would like them to do, and then confirm, after they've sort of agreed, sort of said their bit, confirm what it is that they're going to change. Okay, so you're going to speak with the maths teacher and see if they've got any other resources on this. Whatever it is, confirm, reflect it back to them, what they have said they're going to do. And then end with a positive. So say, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. I look forward to speaking to you on Friday afternoon, whatever you've agreed. So I have found that often this approach completely diffuses the situation. You're being so helpful and cooperative that they are very willing to be on your side, to look at it from your point of view and to help. So really great hack. It's a positive, negative, positive sandwich that takes all the fire out of making a complaint or giving some hard feedback or whatever. So that's what I've got to say to you today. I hope that was useful. Well done if you're with a SEND child at home. I will continue with the parenting in a pandemic next week, and so I'll be back with more tips for parents. Do look out for some of our other stuff that's on Salway Evangelical Church's Facebook page. We have crafts and stories. We have things for adults and families. So do take a look there because there's plenty that we try and put up to support family life and couples. But until next Wednesday, That's it from Parenting in a Pandemic.